Hello, my dear students. Warm welcome to all of you. We are with physics now. Okay, we'll be talking very seriously about physics now. Okay, myself is Dr. Shobboshachi Shen. I'll be offering you the physics courses, course objective, course outcome. You can see on the screen, and we are in outcome-based education. So every course is mapped with what is its probable outcomes, which I have illustrated later on. Now there are 5 modules. Now we'll be adapting one by one to each module and explore the world of physics. Now let us explore what is the topic of the day. You should keep one thing in mind, that whatever we teach in these classes, each video lecture is basically a building block of your future engineering courses. Each class is going to give you some fundamentals, some new concept. And if you add all those concepts at the end of the semester, you will get the correct path of entering into your own engineering curriculum, because all your curriculum are essentially the application of physics. Engineering means physics applications. So let us explore it a bit more.
Hello, my dear students. We're in the 31st lecture now. Okay, the days are okay. It's very soon. We'll be concluding our this semester courses. I was very happy with it, but it does not always give me a great feeling. Okay, because our interactions. Okay, we want to sustain, and I hope the video lectures will be acting as a bridge between you and me. Okay, anytime, anywhere, you can experience these video lectures. I've tried to make them as interesting as possible. So you can give your opinion to the email IDs, and also I've shared you my WhatsApp number also. Any correction or any your feedbacks are very important. Okay. So this is a 31st lecture today. Today we are living with semiconductors. So whatsoever is included in the first year courses of physics related to the semiconductors, that I'm going to tell a bit to you. Okay. So let us begin the journey. This is me. You can contact me if, anytime, anywhere, okay, in that email ID and phone number. And we are talking about semiconductors, okay, in general. Semiconductor, you see, this age of semiconductors, solids or materials may be divided. Some of them are good conductor, bad metals, insulators, or bad conductors, and in between, in terms of conductivity, we have got the semiconductors. Now, semiconductors can be intrinsic, like silicon, germanium, which lies in the group 4 of periodic table. Gallium arsenide, indium phosphide, which lies in the group 3-5 of the periodic table. Maybe cadmium sulfide, cadmium telluride, which lies in the group 2-4 of the periodic table. Semiconductor, if they doped, okay, their ability of conduction could be modulated, could be enhanced, to be fair. If you do electrons if you add a lot of electrons in the system, then you have to do n-type doping. So in the germanium or silicon matrix, then you have to add an element which having at least one electron than germanium or silicon. That is, valency of germanium silicon is 4. You add a pentavalent element. And after that, if you want to create one absence of electron, that is one hole, then you have to add a trivalent element. Like you replace germanium with aluminium, then obviously one vacancy will be created because of the nature of covalent bonding, as I mentioned. Now, the obviously in this way you can make N-type doping, P-type doping. You can actually uh, add N and P-type, P and N-type semiconductor to make a diode. Now, this junction diode has got wonderful and tremendous application in many sectors of our electronic industry. Just a junction of p-type and n-type semiconductor, and how you control electron flow or hole flow across the junction, that is the key. The physics of that is the key. We'll be talking it. I have tried to tell you that in the classical language, that is through the language of electrostatics, a matter moving, a charge particle under voltage, like that way. Now, next year, when you'll be solving the same problem quantum mechanically also, then you will come to know the application of diode. Whatever I am telling you now, it should have multiple applications. Just p and n junction, but lot of applications are there. Okay, but today, in this first year days, we'll be happy with the diodes, its application as rectifiers, the Zener diodes, light emitting diode. Many type of diodes are there, Schottky diodes, and they have got their own area of application. So some of them we will mention as far as the present syllabus is concerned. But this junction device have got many things to offer. So objective of today's class is to talk a bit more about the application of diodes. I will mainly focus on the application of diode as a rectifier valve, application of the diode as a Zener diode, which acts as a voltage regulator, and also the application of diode as a some other application I should mention, like LED, light emitting diode, which emits light, photodiode, which is responsive to the light. So some more examples I will give to tell you the multifold application of the devices. Okay, simple PN junction, but if you engineer it properly, that is your role as an engineer, then you can do wonders. And the physics concepts are there to give you the new insight into it. That is what I am going to do. Now, the outcome of the class is that after attending this particular class, you'll be able to explain why Zener diode acts as a voltage regulator, or how a normal diode acts as a full wave or half wave rectifier. How do you get light from LED? The basic physics I'll be trying to manifest in front of you. So with this in mind, let us make a smart recap of the studies. This is an intrinsic silicon semiconductor. Okay, you can see their covalent bonding is there between electrons. And you can also see this is how I've been showing you these pictures every day. The silicon and germanium, okay, valence, 4 valence electrons are there. This is the covalent bonding, that is mean sharing of electrons, concept of energy bands at a temperature other than absolute zero. You have got some electrons in the valence band and absence of electron hole. In intrinsic semiconductor, the concentration, that is the volume or density of the electron holes are equal. Now, if you have to do p-type doping, you add a pentavalent element like phosphorus or arsenic. So you get an extra electron, as you have seen in the picture. You have to do n-type doping. If you have to do n-type doping, you have to add an element having one extra electron like arsenic or phosphorus, and you can see that is a free electron available there. And if you have to do p-type doping, you do the opposite. You replace silicon or germanium, the tetravalent element, with a trivalent element like aluminium or gallium, you can see. So that is the hole created. And ultimately, when you see them side by side, in the p side, you have got a lot of holes. There are few electrons, minority electrons, and those holes are called majority. In n side, a lot of electrons, majority electron, and minority holes are there. Now, this is a drip process. You under a voltage or diffusion process are the two keys of why the flow of the charge particle will take place across the junction. This is just an example. Okay, you are making p and n join. I have shown you directly through direct calculation also. If you join p and n, to equilibrate in respect of Fermi level, charge flow takes place. Okay, and there is a depletion layer is forming. Okay, this is how a diode is looking like. And I told you already, okay, this is the PN junction diode. Formation of depletion layer. This is classical way of looking into the picture. The more better picture in terms of potential barrier I have shown in the last discussion, because that was dedicated for only telling you the action of diodes. Okay, you see, because electrons are with negative polarity is pushing the electrons. So as a result of that, what is happening? These electrons are pushed inside the N type of the semiconductor. They crossing the junction. Okay, all these things are happening. Okay, you can see they are crossing the junction, and if they cross the junction, you automatically get a current flow. This is a forward bias condition. And for reverse bias condition, just opposite situation takes place. I have shown you the electrons and holes are actually pulled in. Okay, just opposite polarity, the N side. This is P side of the semiconductor and N side of the semiconductor. Because N side is connected with positive polarity of the battery. Okay, so basically, main idea is that electron should be pulled away from the junction. So depletion rate actually goes up. So different becomes. This is one way of the looking into the picture, but a proper electrostatic view I have shared in last video lecture. You go through that, and this is the representation. E and N. Electrons repel because of Coulombic Hall potential. There is a voltage barrier. If through forward bias we actually try to overcome this voltage barrier, okay, you try to overcome this voltage barrier through forward biasing. Okay, yeah, that is from there. Okay, if you apply bias, you make them able to cross the junction, and you get this portion of the graph. Okay, because you have to gather that 0.67 electron volt. That is the barrier height. And for reverse bias, what you do is this much. Okay, you are not actually, the total energy of the electron actually reduces. You are reducing the overall energy, and becomes difficult for the electron to cross the junction. Okay, and reverse bias means you are working over this portion of the graph. Okay, okay. The idea is that in reverse bias, okay, you get very low current. Now today in this video lecture, I would like to focus on this much. Okay, on the concept of breakdown. For breakdown purpose, I will be talking about, and this is this current. Okay, this current is flowing is the reverse saturation current, the IS, which is flowing. All these things, okay, which I discussed lastly. This actually in second year you've got a practical of determination of band gap of a semiconductor. There it will be utilized. Okay, because this is a very helpful formula there. Now just get back to this picture of both forward bias and reverse bias diode. Now you see, this is one of the application of the diode. This is called full wave rectification. Now this is happening because of this feature of the diode graph. Look at the diode graph. In forward bias, above cut-in voltage, it is on. And now below cut-in voltage, it is off basically. Okay, that is in reverse bias. So the diode acts only in forward bias. In forward bias only it is okay. And reverse bias, you see, the way I have shown here, it is off. It does not give you. So this makes to us to apply diode as a switch, because it is on in the above VD, the above cut-in voltage it is on and below cut-in voltage it is off. So if you have to use as the diode as a valve, okay, that is for one bias it is on, the other bias it is off. As a switch, it is the correct option. Or this actually is also called, you see, for a given voltage, for example, in normal diode, suppose this is 0.7 volt. Now if you compare, say, this voltage, maybe will be close to, say, 0.9 volt. Here in the forward bias you're getting lot of current, but here almost in the similar region this is close to 0.9 volt. So if you check in the reverse bias close to 0.9 volt, you notice you get hardly any current. Now this action that in the forward bias I am getting lot of current for the same voltage, say 0.9 volt. For 0.9 volt, I am getting very high current. Current is very high. Very high current in the forward bias. And very low current in the reverse bias. That is what you are seeing here. This action is called rectification action. Okay, actually, in literature, there is a term called rectification ratio. It is calculated as a value of the current in the forward bias or a given bias, okay, divided by the value of the current in the reverse bias, okay, divided by the value of the current in the reverse bias. And obviously you have to do it at a given voltage, let us say 0.9 volt. So that is a measure of the rectification. So this is all the application of the diode as a rectifier. So what I was telling is that what rectifier does, suppose if I consider this voltage is, say, close to 0.9 volt, considering this cut-in voltage is close to 0.7 volt. So you get a lot of current here. Look at 0.9 volt, very high current. So this is the current you are getting at 0.79 volt for forward bias. Now, similarly, if you investigate, suppose this is almost like minus 0.9 volt. And if you measure the current, you see this is the current at the reverse bias, which is very low. So this ratio, I forward bias, I reverse bias, has got a name, it's called rectification ratio. This ratio. Alright, rectification ratio. The higher the rectification ratio would be, that tells you how well it can act as a rectifier. What rectifier does, in one of the bias above certain voltage it is on, and on the other bias it is already off, it is almost off, which makes the diode to be applicable for logic operation. You can get some of the logic gates like AND gate, OR gate, they follow this principle. Now another popular application is that it converts AC signal into, it is used for conversion of AC to DC. Now that idea is this much. You see here in half of the AC signal it is on, so you get an output, and the other half it can't off, it is off because of the, it's the forward bias it is on, and it is reverse bias it is off. Okay, you see forward bias it will go, electrons are passing, reverse bias it is off. Very nice picture. Again you see, start. Forward bias is now, forward bias voltage is growing, so electrons are able to grow, but reverse bias means it can't go. And look at the output. Okay. This is called a half-wave rectifier. But half-wave rectifier is not, is, you see you are losing a bit of data. So next one is a full-wave rectifier. Okay. You see how it is working. You see positive half cycle of the full-wave rectifier. Same picture. You are getting, now get the negative half cycle. There you need a center trap transformer, okay. You see two diodes are there. If you look at the picture, two diodes are here actually. This is one diode and this is the other diode. So it is connected to the center trap transformer, okay. So what happens, you can see the understand, okay. So in one cycle of the AC, one of the diodes will be on. So in the positive cycle, this is on. and in the negative cycle, this will be on. So ultimately, you get always some output. So please witness this animation. Please see how it operates. You see in forward bias, just see first right, it is the forward bias. The diode T1 is on, and is T1. Now it is on. It is allowing it. So you get it. Now see the center tab, the opposite reverse, the second half cycle, the reverse cycle of the AC, or the when it is going down, the crest. Now it is green one is that much. Okay, through T2 it is passing. But look at the output. You are getting the output for both the signal. Okay, you're getting the output for both. Output is obtained for both. So that's why it is preferred to use a center trap transformer, so that you can operate it for the AC signal. You don't have to lose this much. Okay, you can get the output for this as well as this, and this is your output. This is used for the production. You see, now the current is all in the same direction. That's why it is used for the production of the conversion of ACs into DCs. But again, ripples are there. Okay, you see the ripples are there. In basic electronics course, you'll learn a bit more. You have to use filters, etc. Different type of filters are there. But I'm not going to discuss or highlight that issue now. My job is to do the physics of it. So these are the application of the rectifier diodes. Some more applications are there. Okay, for the signal, okay, modulations, detection, it is used. But we'll now focus on Zener diode. Okay, and its application is very important. The basic physics of that also I'll tell you now. And variable capacitor diode also you have to learn. It is used as tuner. Okay. LED I will talk about a bit, photodiode I will talk about a bit. Tunnel diode needs quantum mechanics knowledge that will come to know automatically in my class second year, in the next year. GaN diode, again it's a quantum mechanics knowledge. Possibly, you see it's in your course. If you're an EC student, you may learn it separately because you've got a paper called solid state devices in third sem. But if you are students of other branch, then you don't have to learn it. Okay, but it is also produces high frequency signal. It also produces high frequency signal. Now, high speed logic circuit operation is Schottky diode is a metal semiconductor. These are some pictures. Okay, this identification, this codes. Okay, how to identify the diodes. For example, now I'll focus on the Zener diode. Okay, Zener diode operates at 6.3 volt. So what does it mean by 6.3 volt? So let me take it. Okay, lot of so now we are focusing on Zener diode, invented by C. Zener, the scientist. It is a heavily doped semiconductor, thin depletion region because of heavy doping. Again, it's a very common sense. Okay, suppose I've got a semiconductor. This is P side of the semiconductor. This is N side of the semiconductor. So you've got the holes as the majority, electrons and majority in the inside. Now here you've got some negative ions, and here you've got some positive ions. Okay. That makes the depletion region. Okay, this is depleted of free charges. What you are trying to do, you are trying to use this, make P and N heavily doped. Okay, how do you do it? It's very difficult to write here. Let me do it on a paper, okay, so that you understand it. Very simple. Just see. see how it works. It's very beautiful to explain. Basically, suppose this is p side of the semiconductor. This is n side of the semiconductor. P side, you have got the holes here, okay? And negative ions and monetary electrons. And in the n side, you have got the majority holes, electrons here, and positive ions, and the minority holes. Now, this is depletion region. Suppose depletion width is W. What you are trying to do in Zener diode, you are trying to increase the carrier concentration. You are doing heavy doping. If you do heavy doping, you see a lot of charge carriers will now be coming into business. Okay, what would happen? Heavy doping means you have got this much of holes. Now you are increasing the doping concentration. So the moment what you do, you see some of the holes will be coming into this depleted portion. Here also, if you do heavy doping, you are increasing the electron concentration. Okay. So this was a depleted region. Okay. This is a depleted region. Now you see electrons are now getting accumulated in front of the depletion regions. So as a result of that, effective width of the depletion region reduces. This becomes the new width of the depletion region. Okay, new depletion width reduces. So now say it is W1, this is less than W. It is happening because of common sense, because of heavy doping. Now, what you have to do now, under these circumstances, you have to apply a strong reverse bias voltage. What you do, you apply a strong reverse bias voltage under these circumstances. If you apply a strong reverse bias voltage, what it does, suppose this is your diode, it is under heavy doping, depletion width is less, W1. So a lot of holes are in this region. Lot of electrons are there. Oh, sorry, this is now the reduced depletion width. Lot of electrons are here. Now, a Zener diode actually operates in reverse biased. So if this is a P side of the semiconductor and that is N side of the semiconductor, so you have to reverse bias it. It operates in the reverse bias condition, okay? It operates under the reverse bias condition. If you apply very strong reverse bias, very high reverse bias, as one of the example I have shown you, like say 6.3 volt, then what would happen if this is your germanium matrix? Like this. And these are the covalently bonded electrons. If you apply very high voltage, then it might happen. So some of the electrons here might rupture the bond. Suppose this electron here is rupturing the bond and producing a free electron, or this electron here is rupturing the bond and producing a free electron. Now this is called, so this is created by rupturing of the bond because of very high voltage. So what it does, okay, it has ruptured the bond. So this is producing large number of electrons together. This is called Zener breakdown. And if you look at the curve, IV graph, you will notice at a very high reverse bias voltage, suddenly current starts to grow, like say minus 6.3 volt. Some of the diode operates even as minus 5.8 volt. Now, one more thing is that these electrons will now impinge or collide on one of the another electron. So because of collision, this will go out. Now this will collide with another electron. So because of collision, this will go out. Now what you are creating, you are opening up another process. That is from this one electron, now you have this plus this, you are getting two electrons after the collision. And this 2 is now producing 1, 2. Now this can again collide with this much. Now 2 to 4. Now they will collide with 2 more electrons. This 2 to 4. These 2 more will come out. Now I'll be having 4 electrons, 4 to 8. So within a very short time, an avalanche of electrons will be created. A lot of electrons will become free. So a lot of electrons will come out. And you'll get a great radical rise in the current going to the circuit. This is called avalanche breakdown. So this is all about the geometrical presentation, the explanation of how it operates. Now you see it in PowerPoint how it is done. Okay. Get back to the PPT. So this is how it is done. Okay, Zener diode, thin depletion region, sharp breakdown voltage, forward characteristics the same as PN diode, and this is the circuit of it. You see, this is how a Zener diode is represented. Okay, this is the representation. That Z is indicating Zener, and this is how a Zener diode looks like. Okay, photos of Zener diode, and that black spot is the negative part, cathode part. Okay. Some more photos of Zener diode so that you can see this is the cathode. Okay. Same story. Okay. Now this breakdown mechanism, as I mentioned, you see if you apply very high inverse bias voltage, you can see it's just a schematic representation. You see rupturing of bonds and electrons are coming out. Okay. You can see the rupturing of the bonds and electrons are just coming out just by bond rupturing. Okay. Now some more beautiful pictures are waiting for you here. You see this is something I've shown you on paper. This is a p-type doped semiconductor, and you see what is happening. P-type doped semiconductor, and this is high voltage. Electrons are coming out. Okay, by rupturing of the bonds. Electrons are coming out by rupturing of the bonds. Okay. Now this is a good picture. Okay. You look at the picture. Okay. Applied strong voltage, electrons are all coming out by bond breaking. Okay, these are the electrons. Electrons are coming out by breaking the bond. Okay, a lot of electrons are coming out. Now what these electrons are doing, witness here. Okay, these electrons are hitting another electron. Try to see, they're colliding 2 to 4, 4 to 8. See, an avalanche is created. Okay, a lot of electrons are coming out. You see, so this portion is Zener breakdown. Okay, which are producing these electrons. Now here it is the avalanche breakdown taking place. Okay, just try to realize one to two. Again, you see one Jenner. Now this will make two. Two will collide with two more. Four. Four will collide with four more. A beautiful process, and you see a radical growth in the current to the circuit. Okay, if you look at the current, okay, huge growth in the current. Okay, radical growth in the current circuit. Okay, I keep it here in front of you for some time to see. Beautiful picture, okay, isn't it? 4 to 8. 8 will make it 60, which I have not shown, and in this way it will drop. The picture, okay, Girard breakdown is rupturing of bond, and you see, avalanche breakdown is it because of collision. Okay, I can give you. I've given you two YouTube links also. There also you can watch. Okay, the related video how it is. There are also some videos are present there. Okay, of this process. Now, some more notable point breakdown in genodiode in heavily doped diode field intensity is more at the junction, and strong electric field actually ruptures the bond. Okay, whatever I've told you, it is written here. Okay, that is, you apply a strong electric field, covalent bonds will be broken, it will be becoming free, followed by avalanche process. Okay, huge reverse current is obtained. Okay, same story. Okay. Now this is the IV graph of Zener diode. You can see. Obviously, first Zener breakdown takes place, then the average breakdown. You can see. Comparison difference between Zener and avalanche breakdown. Okay, they occurs at heavily doped diodes, and avalanche can even take place in lightly doped diodes, but when they are at a high voltage, ionization take place by electric field and thereby collision. Actually, even in avalanche breakdown diode also, first Zener breakdown, if suppose a system with heavily doped diode, where suppose you had Zener breakdown is taking place due to high voltage, electrons are coming out because of the rupturing of the bonds. They will even, as I have shown here, okay, in this picture, okay, there will be collision, and because of that collision, okay, the even in this picture also, because of collision, an avalanche of electrons will be coming out. It has to be there, okay. So any Zener breakdown taking place, there also this avalanche process will be ignited automatically. Okay? And this voltage here it is 5 volt, but I've given some example 6.3 volt, 5.8 reverse volt. These are also available, but avalanche breakdown obviously takes place after that. Okay. Okay. This is it. Now in forward bias, obviously nothing changes, just normal diode action, and reverse bias, as I mentioned, this is the characteristic graph. Okay. Power decimation you can calculate, that is the total current into that voltage is fixed. Okay, because this Zener diode, this is operating at a fixed voltage, this voltage Vj, this may be 6.3 volt, this may be 5.8 volt, whatever it may be. So these voltage is fixed. Okay, whatever you choose. So that's why one of the application of these diodes, because this is fixed, you see it is strictly growing and at that voltage, because then positive terminal of the battery. Okay, this is kind of. Now if we see, there's a bit of problem with the power point. Okay, just hold a bit.
I'm just sitting here. I got time. It's clear to see from up here. The world seems small. We can sit together. It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free. Sometimes you need to go and take a step back to see the truth around you. From a distance you can tell. You and me, we're meant to be